There is no meaning to life. You are searching for something that does not exist.
What is the meaning of life? Sanhia on letting go of the search and resting in being.
Good now. This question brings to mind a cartoon of a sage with long flowing white hair and beard, and wearing a simple robe, sitting cross-legged on the top of a mountain. In the next panel, a seeker has scaled the mountain and prostrates himself before the sage. The caption reads, "Oh, Master, what is the meaning of life?" Perhaps in the final panel, the sage kicks the seeker and he goes tumbling down. But this is a question that consumes the thoughts of many people, particularly those who consider themselves to be on a spiritual path, who want to understand, what is the meaning of life? Why am I here? Why is the world here? Why are these events happening? There is none. There is no meaning to life. You are searching for something that does not exist. When the searcher is looking for anything, the belief is that whatever is being sought is separate from me. This belief in separation creates an addiction, a constant searching for something outside of the self. The attempt to understand is comparable to figuring out what gives life to an animal by killing and dissecting it. What is the meaning of life? Life is. It simply is. Life is in the animal or it is not. This search for meaning is all about having a story. There must be some story that lets everything make sense. That's what made this happen, and that happen, and it all eventually leads to this. We are greatly amused by writer Kurt Vonnegut's story about how and why humanity evolved on Earth. According to this tale, there was a space vehicle weaving its way through the universe from the planet Tralfamadore. It broke down with the closest inhabitable planet being the Earth. Some Tralfamadorians took a shuttle out from the mothership in search of a repair part. Not only was there no part available, but the most intelligent form of life was an advanced ape. Those apes were bred and trained, eventually evolving to become Homo sapiens. The Tralfamadorians continued to evolve these primitive people until after many thousands of years the race was able to industrialize and finally create the repair part for the visitors, who immediately took the part back to the mothership, fixed it, and returned home. What is the purpose of life on Earth? To allow the Tralfamadorians to return home. This makes as much sense as any of the stories that you have heard or otherwise come up with. In the last message, we talked about awakeness. Awakeness looks for no meaning. It simply lives. It's a part of being. When you search for a meaning to your life, you come up with a story. For many of you, it's a sad story, though it may have its bright moments. You didn't ask to be born. Then you were stuck with those parents who affected you in ways you are still healing from. You got sent to school for years also with multiple side effects. And let us not forget the church indoctrination. The story goes on and on and on. Likely, some event came along that caused you to wonder if there was another way to look at life. So you began following a spiritual path, seemingly growing from one experience or teacher after another. Eventually, enough things may happen down the road that you become enlightened, awakened, ascended. That's a story. Maybe the story includes an evolution covering many lifetimes, pointed toward this wonderful future happening. But there is no story. It's just in the mind. First of all, out of the millions of events that have happened around you in this lifetime, the mind has filtered out a relatively small number of them out of which to sculpt your story. Anything that doesn't fit with the saga is discarded. It's out the window. Only those happenings that reinforce your tale are held on to. As you encounter the present moment, you look for how it supports your story. Events are made to fit a pattern, kind of like the Procrustean bed from the Greek mythology, where the bandit Procrustes would tie travelers to a bed, stretching the short and cutting the tall to make them fit. Sometimes so many things fly in the face of your story that you realize you need to modify it, but you still have a story, even if it's a new one. When you must have a meaning to life, even if it's a frustrated, hopeless lack of meaning that you feel stuck with, the times can prove to be quite challenging. Perhaps you can't figure out what the purpose of something is, or you wonder why God would let an event happen. As long as there is a looking at life with any kind of expectation of what should be there is not a full experience of life. Instead, there is a resistance, a desire to change, to mold, to form what is being experienced to match the story your mind has created. As there is no meaning to life, there is no personal story. You do not have a story. The tale your mind has woven is not true. It is not real. It is a fabrication of your mind. You think you are controlled by what you think of as your past, by your story, but there is no past. It's just a figment of the imagination. Where is it? Can you go there? Can you find it? No, you just make up stories about it, like the politician who promises to return the country to the greatness it once experienced. Where are those wonderful years? There is no such time. There is just now. As long as you are looking somewhere else, you don't see the present. You don't truly experience life. So, the beingness of life, rather than the meaningness of life, is here, but it is unobserved because the mind is focused elsewhere, either into the illusory past or an imagined future, or projecting onto the present what it believes should be there, rather than what is. A story requires a continuum of past and future. If they don't exist, how can there be a story? This brings terror to the ego mind. No story means no ego, no me. I die without a story, without a sense of uniqueness and separation from the one. Understandably, that is terrifying. But to dedicate your life to the creation of your story, to find meaning, to understanding, can only lead to a sense of failure and frustration because it's a search for something that does not exist. You are looking for the Holy Grail out there somewhere. The only place to look is within. If in looking within you find a story, dig deeper. Keep looking. Are you absolutely, beyond the shadow of a doubt, certain in the truth of your story? Is any aspect of it suspect? Perhaps not fully true. Keep looking. Are you certain? Are there events that don't fit the pattern? Is projection involved? Are there non-conforming experiences that you are overlooking? Did things just happen rather than happening to you? Then return to the now and see what is here. Where is there a story in the rustling of leaves or in the chirping of birds? Where is there a story in seeing the clouds in the sky, or in feeling and smelling the drops of rain falling from them? If the mind says that there is a sequence of seasons, and there are reasons for movements in the weather, ask yourself how many seasons you see right now, and where you should look to see the cause of the rain falling on your head. There is no story in the weather. There just is what is. Stories bring comparisons, such as, "This is the hottest summer ever," leading to ideas like, "Maybe global warming is going to kill us all." In the now, there is no hottest or coldest. There is only the current temperature. Again, there is no story. The mind wants to make stories rather than to see what is actually present. One of the more popular forms of that is conspiracy stories. Somebody or somebodies are out to get you and other innocent victims. There was no moon landing. Look around you. Is there a moon landing either happening or not happening in your presence? Even in your memory, has such a thing either occurred or not occurred in your sight? In fact, one of the craziest notions of the mind is the existence of something that is not present. The possibilities for what isn't are infinite, and the feelings and the body go through enormous gyrations in response to these fantasies. All for naught, all for something that does not exist, something that is not in your present. Can you do anything about the 10,000 things that are not here now? It's questionable whether you have the power to do much of anything about what you do see here now. But the idea of affecting the imagined is pure idiocy. And you wonder why you're not at peace, why you don't feel safe, why you wish things to be different than they are. I encourage you to take a deep breath and let your eyes close. Imagine that you realize there is no meaning to life. There is nothing to understand, nothing to figure out. You are now off the hook. You have no responsibility to figure out or manage anything. Sense the freedom in that. Feel the relaxation that accompanies the dropping of those burdens. If there is no meaning, there is nothing you should be doing. Life just is. There is no reason for it. Nothing is asked of or demanded from you. Nothing happens to you. Things are just happening. They just are. Life just is. You have spent your life trying to make meaning where there is none. Are you laughing yet? Pretty funny, isn't it? Are your eyes still closed? On top of this, imagine that your story doesn't exist. There is no meaning there either. There is no pattern to trace, no steps of growth. You are not coming from one place trying to get somewhere else. There's no story here. There is just here, just what is. There's not even really a now, because all is in constant movement. If you try to nail down or hold on to any moment, you are now trying to be somewhere else instead of with what is. More like floating down a stream. There is just what is, what you can sense. There is no place to try to get to, and no ability to get there if there were such a place. Keep breathing. Are the shoulders feeling lighter and lighter? Nothing needs doing. Nothing to prove or justify. There is just beingness. The sounds you hear about you, the things you can see if you open your eyes, the smells. You may be asking if you can do anything then. Is everything simply as it is, and you can have no effect upon it? Does nothing matter? Well, I encourage you to try to do nothing. Of course, you will do something. You have always done so. The animals and plants all do what they do. But this doing is not with a goal in mind. It's not to achieve anything. So you will do what you do, not out of right and wrong, or shouldness, not out of a story, not out of earning love or respect, and not out of achieving something or reaching a goal. You will do it because in being, doing simply happens. As a young child, you were doing, but you had no purpose, no goals. It might be described as playing. This doing is not to try to get somewhere or to change things. It is simply your dialogue with life, your interaction. I would suggest to you that if you want to cease your search for meaning, stop building, expanding, and living in your story, and simply encounter your beingness in each moment, allowing whatever it might be to exist without trying to change it, interacting with and experiencing it, you will find that this whole question of the meaning of life will gradually dissolve or disintegrate and will cease re-entering the mind. So will it be with your personal story. In the meantime, notice that you wonder why and have these questions. Notice, and then return your focus to what is now, to your senses and feelings. Notice that in what is you, no meaning and no story can be found. Good now.
If this touched your heart, subscribe and receive more light. This content is the creative work of Channels Without Borders, all rights reserved, 2026. Visit channelswithoutborders.com.